So what are the essential qualities that make a relationship conscious?
Well, I think that for me, acceptance is probably the most important thing. Acceptance of who my partner is right now, which is probably going to be different than who she was last week or last month. Acceptance of who I am right now, and most importantly, acceptance of exactly where our relationship is right now. Not judging it, saying she should be farther along, I should be farther along, we as a couple should be farther along. If you don't have acceptance, you've got resistance, and if you've got resistance, there's going to be some issues that come up regularly in relationships. So.
Yeah. Being conscious for me, most recently, it's been really easy for me to think about it as being the opposite of being unconscious. So bringing more awareness into who I am being in this relationship. And a big part of that is taking responsibility for all my stuff. My feelings, my reactions, my beliefs, most importantly, my experience. Not pointing the finger at Joe and in any way saying you're responsible for my experience. It's because of you that I'm feeling this way. So I think that's the biggest one. So that could come out in many ways. Expectations, resentment, any kind of manipulative behavior or controlling behavior, just being aware of that.
Yeah, and going on from that, I second that, Mali, because, for me it's exactly the same. It's self-awareness, first of all, and we are all self-aware, really. It's just some people don't want to see it necessarily, but the big bit is being self-responsible and knowing that whatever you contribute to the relationship is purely yours, and it's not about pointing the finger. I think the biggest difference between conventional and conscious is, what am I doing to contribute to this relationship? Not what is the other person doing that's either right or wrong in my experience, which for me is the number one, really. And also to really, for me, just to really build on the good stuff, with appreciation and just nurturing all the great stuff, so that when the difficult moments come along, they don't seem as difficult, because, you've already got an abundance of a love tank that's full of great stuff.
Okay. Yeah, for me, what makes a conscious relationship is actually an awareness of the relationship itself being conscious, as distinct from just the individuals being conscious. And we refer to that as the relational space. So there's me taking care of my self-responsibility for my piece of the equation, it's mine. Gina taking care of her piece of the equation. But then also we're both co-responsible for the relationship independently, because like any individual, it has its own issues, it has its own loves, its own difficulties, and there's a partnership in taking care of that. But the awareness of it as a distinct something that needs to be taken care of, as well as the self, is really important as part of being a conscious relationship.
You guys, that's the biggest thing that I've learned from you guys in these dialogues we've been having is that idea, and I'm just starting to feel my way into that. What is that, to have this relational space being sort of a separate entity that has its own life? It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because actually, Molly, and Joe, when you work with people, when you get them to focus on the relational space, Joel's right, it makes it non-personal, because, if people can become aware of their contribution without any perceived finger pointing, that becomes a much more comfortable way of showing people the quality and the energy within the relationship. So it is a sort of third party within the relationship, and it's very powerful. Everyone knows how the relationship feels and is, so it's great stuff, really good.
And it stops the struggle of trying to get two people into one thing.
Yeah.
Trying to, I become you or you become me is the old way of doing relationships, but it never works, because our nature is to be whole in ourselves. And when you bring in the third party, then that can be whole, I can be whole, and Gina can be whole, and that's a way forward which is actually sustainable.
Okay.
I like that.